Hello, I'm Gabrielle Saracen, and my topic I chose for this project is the lower middle class is struggling to stay afloat. This topic is actually very relevant to sociology in many ways. This topic demonstrates social stratification in the United States, and it also demonstrates the inability for many to gain upward mobility into higher classes, such as higher middle class or even upper class. The lower middle class is defined as a group of semi-professionals and craftsmen with some work autonomy, meaning they are not stuck in one job throughout their lives and can switch to different trades and jobs that require different skills. The household income ranges from $35,000 to $75,000. Individuals in the lower middle class often have some college education. Many sources which I researched depicted the lower middle class as being around 32% of the entire United States population, but the percentages based on different research varied. There are actually two periods of history behind the middle class. The modern image of the middle class comes from post-World War II. The 1944 GI Bill provided veterans with money for college, businesses, and homes. For the first time, servicemen were able to buy homes, create businesses, and pursue an education. Because of this bill, there was a surge in the number of middle-class Americans during this time. Credit cards were also introduced, which allowed Americans to buy things that they were not normally able to. African Americans were able to pull themselves into the middle-class bracket through the civil rights movement. Today, most middle-class Americans are homeowners and have some college education. Many have several credit cards which they are not able to pay off, which accounts for the accruing amount of debt that makes up the middle class. The average amount of credit card debt for a middle-class American is around $6,800. This is a quote that I really connected to. It says a rising number of middle-class Americans felt that their lives were getting worse and worse. This really demonstrates the limbo that a lot of lower middle-class Americans are in. With stagnant wages, they are unable to compete and afford rising prices for necessities such as food, education, and even some basic luxuries such as a car or maybe a vacation. So, like I said in the beginning, the different sources that I researched had different varying percentages of the population that belongs to the middle class. Some say it's 50, some say it's 32. There isn't a really hard definition as to the amount of percentage in the lower middle class, but this source says that 50% of the entire US population belongs to the middle class, which is an absolutely staggering number. I have a very personal connection to this topic because I come from a lower middle class family. I'm an only child who was raised by a single mother. Our average income last year was around $34,000. I always believe we're floating in limbo, struggling to stay afloat. We have it better than a lot of people, and the saying in our family is, we will always make it work, and we always do. We have lived paycheck to paycheck for as long as I can remember. We cannot afford decent health care and are often burdened by extremely high copays. We cannot afford to go on vacations or buy luxuries such as a new car. My mom struggled to send me to college, and now I am knee-deep in student loan debt. I have two credit cards which both have a balance due to emergency visits and other necessities. We do not have a decent savings in case of emergency, and hence we rely on our credit cards. It is honestly a vicious cycle that middle-class Americans get trapped in. We use our credit cards when we need to, we finally catch up, have enough money for the week, pay off the credit card, and by the next week we are flat broke and need to use the card for necessities such as food. I honestly wish that credit cards didn't exist. I think the fact that 8 out of 10 American workers live paycheck to paycheck is absolutely insane. We all work 40 hours a week and we still cannot afford to pay our bills. Social stratification is deeply related to the sociological framework we have been studying in class. I most relate to the conflict theory that believes that social stratification only benefits some people and not all of society. Why should a preschool teacher make $35,000 a year, but a basketball player easily make over $1 million? How is that fair? There is a system in place to keep business owners rich and keep workers poor. Casinos are an example that I closely relate to. My mom has been a blackjack dealer at a casino for my entire life. Over 20 years of experience, however, she has never had more than a 2% raise. Constant policy changes make sure that no matter how much she works, she always brings home the same amount of money, while casino owners are making $1 billion a year in profit.